corner video on your scorecard, you have to make a successful pass from an outside lane. So if you've been riding for quite a while, everybody is familiar with a low high and a high low. Well, on your scorecard, if you can pass somebody using a high low technique, you can get yourself a point. So if I explain the basic of that, low high would mean inside the corner and outside the corner, and high low would mean outside the corner and then you dive in inside the corner. Though there are 5 lines that we're going to be studying today, on your scorecard, the only thing that I'm going to grade you on is if you are able to make a pass from the outside. So are you able to high-low somebody? All right? If you can do it at 50% of your speed, you score yourself 1 point. If you can do it at 75 to 100% of your speed, so you're going to need a partner for that. You guys both 100% of your speed or close to that, and you can still make that pass, you can score yourself 2 points. All right? So in other words, rider A, rider B, if you can come both together like that, and then the rider B is able to make a successful pass and dive in before the rider A does it, then go ahead and give yourself the point. So before we start studying the 5 lines that I want to talk to you about today, let's go over a couple techniques, okay? So when you ride your bike, make sure that one pedal is up. So if you make a left corner, make sure that your left foot is always up. If you make a right corner, make sure that your right foot is always higher than the other. Though there are a lot of times where depending on the corner you can turn with your pedal even, I want you to think about a couple things. If you have both pedals even when you turn, that means that you are going to turn with the bike. So as the bike tilts, you are going to tilt with the bike. So you're going to put a lot of force, like you're going to put a lot of weight on your tire waiting for you to slip underneath you. All right? So if you were to have one pedal up and one pedal down, you will be able to tilt your bike a little bit more than you will be tilting with the bike, if that makes sense. So in other words, if I exaggerate, what I'm trying to say is you will be able to tilt the bike as you stay higher up on your bike. That's going to push your weight down as opposed to push the bike sideways. And so you will be able to make a sharper corner without necessarily slipping. Now, depending on the track, you may not always need to do that. Like there are some pump track out there that the corner are so steep, it's almost like a vertical wall. In that case, if you do not need to turn where you just let the corner turn you, then you can get away with keeping your crank level and then you just make a sharp turn. But however, if the corner of the track is not as steep, sometimes you may want to tilt the bike a little bit more and therefore lift one pedal up as opposed to keep it level. So that is one thing to keep in mind when you're going to be practicing your corner. Okay, now as far as the 5 lines that I want to talk to you about, basically it's a variation of low high. So you have low high and then you have a high low. Well, in order to make myself understood here in this video, we'll think about it this way. There is the start of your corner and then there is the end of your corner. So the start of your corner, are we taking it inside or are we taking it outside? And same thing with the end of your corner. Are we finishing the corner from the inside or are we taking the corner from the outside? So a low high, we're going to call it an in and out. So you're coming in and you finish out. Okay. A high low, we're going to call it out and in. So you're coming out and you're diving in. So now, as far as studying the other line, the other version of it, let's talk about the low high. This is the technique that you're going to be using pretty much 95% of the time. Every time, depending on the track, right? But most likely every time that you are on a race, you want to protect your inside. So you never want, especially if you're in first place, all right? So you will always want to try to target that inside corner. So you're going to be coming in, target that inside and go in and out. That's most likely going to be what's going to be important, because if you don't do that, some people is going to take that inside and they are going to pass you. Right? But however, sometimes that's going to be a problem doing that, because depending on the track, if the corner is very, very tight, and we just had National not too long ago, the corner were so tight that if starting 16 expert to pro, if someone were to come in full speed in that corner and take that inside corner, the rider was just losing way too much speed. So what you want to keep in mind if you are dealing with a race where there's like tight corner, you want to think of it as not so much in and out, but most likely out, in, out. So basically like a NASCAR driving, where you have to take the corner from a little bit out, in, and out. So rather than coming this way, in and out, you're coming more from outside, in, and out. All right, so you're basically, well, that was kind of a sharp drawing here, but I hope you get my point. So you're turning before the corner, and then you're coming in. So as opposed to arriving straight into the corner and then almost having to make a 180-degree turn in that part of the corner, depending on the corner, that's going to cost you a lot of speed. And if it costs you all your speed, then you're going to be in a dangerous position continuing your race. All right, there's a lot of other people behind you. So in that case, if you were to do that, that's not going to cost you too much speed, and you are able to protect that inside. There's a lot of mistake that people make on sharp corner where they're not going to take it inside because of the reason I just explained. So what they end up doing is just take it all around up. The problem with that is that you are exposing your inside. And if you expose your inside, a nasty rider that really wants to win is going to take you there. And both of you either are going to crash or he's going to take you out. So be careful on that. So if you take it out and out, well, at one point, you're still out, you're still protecting your inside, and somewhere you're not losing too much speed. So that is something that you need to practice. Go into your line, out, close in, and then finish your corner. Practice that over and over so that it becomes second nature. Now, depending on the corner, there are corners that are so big that obviously you're not going to need to pre-turn the corner. So you can just come in, take all your inside, and then depending on the corner, you may have plenty of room to finish your corner without losing any speed. If that situation occurs where the corner is well designed in that way, well, you don't need to worry about it out and in. You just take all your corner from the inside, make sure that you protect that inside, and most likely you're going to be good to go for 95% of all your motos for that weekend. All right. So that is one thing to think about as far as your low-high. All right. So now on your high-low, if you're going to make a pass from the outside, high-low does not always mean high-low. Right? It just means that you need to dive in before the other person does it. So in other words, so as I explained on your scorecard, someone goes in, you go out, and you pivot before they do, and then that's going to make you come out of that corner in first position, even though you came in at the same time and that you were from the outside. So, but keep in mind one thing, you don't always need to go outside the track to dive in, okay? Sometimes it's beneficial for you to just follow the rider and then dive in soon as your front wheel has enough room clearance from their back wheel. All right? I call that a follow in. So you're not going out, you're following the rider and then you dive in before they do. So you're following, soon as you have the clearance from your front wheel to their back wheel, you dive in. If you do it too soon, your front wheel is going to touch the back wheel and it's automatic crash for you. All right? But soon as you have that room, bam. So now you're not necessarily taking someone from the outside to the inside, you're basically following in. So that's like an altered version of a high-low. That is something you need to practice because think about it this way. In a first corner of your race, there's going to be like 8 riders. They're all going to come in pretty much at the same time. So if you are outside of, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4 rider, I mean, for you to go completely out and in, I mean, the odds are pretty against you. I mean, when you're going to start diving and there will be other rider for you, for some time it's mostly beneficial for you to just follow the group. And like I explained, if you have the room, soon as you have the room, boom, you dive in and you hope to pass somebody, right? So, in other words, you go, you follow, and you follow, and you follow, and you follow, and you pivot before they do. What I mean by pivot is just making that corner. If you wait too long to make that pivot, you're not going to make the pass, all right? So I hope all that makes sense. Another one that's important to talk about is I call it follow out, okay? That's a risky one. Following out. Let's pretend that you're coming in and you have a rider inside of you that has the inside. So that person's gonna low high you and it's gonna come in. You have 2 options. Either surrender and let that person low high you and then you come out of that corner second or third depending on which position you had before you came in the corner, or you just fight for it. Like you do not let that person take you and you fight and you fight and you fight and you fight and then you keep on going after. I call that a follow out. So you're not giving in. So you're basically fighting your place, preventing that rider from taking you out, and you just dig in. And we see that a lot of time where like pro races, when the person is at gate 8 and coming in and there's a lot of people on the inside and you see that person not giving up and coming out of that corner ahead. So that's a risky move, but sometimes if you want to win, that is what you have to do. So now the question is, when is it time for you to just fight for it versus surrendering it? So that's going to depend a lot on the track. Like if you are from that outside and you see that you don't have enough track, like the corner is not high enough for you to fight for it, then for you to continue to do that would be suiciding race. Like you are going to go over the corner and you're going to wipe out. So your race is completely done. So however, if you surrender a little bit, well, that person's going to pass you, but you're still in the race. You're in second place. So at this point, you can pass that person later on. So I would take that before I crash, right? So sometimes I don't want to encourage you to always surrendering, but for the sake of how the track is built, sometimes you may want to make that decision so that you are still in the track. I would take a second place before I take a crash, right? But however, if you feel it in you that you see that you have enough track and you feel like you have the edge, my goodness, fight for it. Fight, fight, fight. I call that a follow out. Risky move, but it's very important. I hope that you understand what I'm saying here. So within those 5 lines that I explained, you need to practice those in simulation races with your friend over and over and over and over so that those lines become a second nature. The more that you are going to do those lines, the more you'll be able to make a quick decision as far as what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to follow out on this one. I'm going out, in, out, or I'm going in and out. And then you're going to be very skilled as far as which decision you're making as far as making successful passes. Sometimes you'll make a move, it'll be a great move, but that pass is not going to happen. Sometimes it'll be the opposite. You're just going to do it over and over. And just like your technique, learning how to jump, learning how to manual, the more you practice that, the more advanced you will become as far as riding in a pack. The last thing I want to talk to you about is basically preparing your corner. If you wait until you arrive to the corner to make a decision, most likely it's already too late. Okay, so we have an example of a corner here. You prepare your corner a whole line ahead. So in other words, you're just coming out of that corner right here. You're going to be, let's say the track continues like another corner over here, right? You're going to prepare this corner soon as you get out here, right? Whatever it's in that line over here, whether you get a double, a triple, a jump, whatever it is there, you already know what you're going to be doing. Your technique should by now be complete second nature. You don't think about it anymore. But however, soon as you pass the corner, now you're going to be in first place, second, third, fourth, whatever place you are. You already need to be thinking about what you are going to do for the next corner. So if you're in the first place, great. Make sure that you protect that inside because someone's going to want that place for you. So as you're going to go through that whole line, target to go in that inside to make sure that nobody passes you there. So that's something you want to keep in mind. If you're in second place or third place, study what that other person is doing. Does it seem that that person ahead of you is staying in the middle of the track and not sticking that inside? That could be an opportunity for you to start diving in and hopefully making a successful low high, right? Or if you see that that person knows what they're doing and they're starting targeting that inside, well, that's the place for you to go. Do I go high-low or do I go follow out? Start asking yourself those questions so that you have a game plan already prepared for you to do before you get to that corner. Don't wait until you're already at that corner. And you are going to do this over and over and over. The gate pop, you're going to accelerate as hard as you can. You're going to make clean passes in your technique, all right? And then you're going to look for a line in your first corner. As soon as that first corner is out, start studying another line for the second corner. And then as soon as that second corner is done, start studying a line for your third corner. And if you are first, making sure that whatever line you're taking, that nobody's going to take your spot because you're in the first spot. You are in that spot where everybody wants to be in. So you got to protect that. So again, if the corners are sharp and you protect that inside and you lose too much speed, that's going to put you in a dangerous position for the straight ahead coming, right? So sometimes you may want to go out, in, out so that you still protect that inside, but however, you are not losing your speed. All of these questions, there is not an easy answer to give at every particular moment, right? But as you keep those in mind and practice them over and over and over and over, you will become skilled at pack riding. And when the situation is going to occur in a race, you will know what to do. So how to practice that? Find yourself a group of friends, 5 people, 6 people, 7 people. Start from one jump. And 1, 2, 3, go, and you guys arrive at the first jump together. Sometime at races, especially the low-level races, the first person is going to be so much better than the others, and the person struggling in the back will be way far behind. So that's going to cause the first guy to be completely first, having the whole track to themselves. The second guys to also have the track for themselves, and then the third guy behind, or fourth or fifth, whatever, everybody's having the whole track to themselves because there's too much distance between each rider. So if you want to get good at this, make sure that you simulate racing situation where everybody is just as good to each other. That's where you can see a true pack getting into a corner when 6 riders are coming at the same time. So the way to simulate that is start from a jump not too far from a corner perhaps, so that way you won't have time to have the edge, right? So you're going to have to exercise some line over here. Maybe you want to start behind somebody. If you have a strong acceleration and the 3 guys rider is struggling with their acceleration and so on, let them start before you so that when you come to the corner, you have to make a decision. So all of these things as a group, you guys want to think about it this way. Start from a double to the first corner. Start further in. Let's try to all follow each other and arrive at the corner a lot faster. Studying and studying and studying, and keep in mind those 5 lines. As you do so, you will progress and progress and progress. And when the race will come, you will know what to do when you're going to arrive to a corner. Sometimes it's going to land it, sometimes you're going to miss. So what? But however, it will be in your mind.